Welcome to Distracted Nerd. Today we are breaking down... the Glimmer Man? Shit. I forgot I said I was doing all the Seagal movies in order. Why would I say such a stupid-ass thing? I mean, at the time I was excited about the Under Siege movies, but now those are a distant memory, and we are getting dangerously close to being done with Seagal's theatrical releases. Alright, let's get this over with. Let's just move one step closer to Beyond the Law, where his character's name is Augustino Finn Adair. Although I am kind of looking forward to Out for a Kill, because not only does it just mash up titles from his other movies, but Seagal also plays a college professor. And I'm going to make a bet right now. I bet all of his female students want to have sex with him. The Glimmer Man is Steven Seagal's 9th major motion picture. And this one really lets him test out his acting range, because he finally gets to play a Zen Buddhist who is a master of Aikido and wears all black. Huge departure from his last role as Willy Wonka in the off-Broadway performance of Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator. Critics raved, "Wait, who's starring as Willy Wonka?" I couldn't hear a single word that came out of his mouth. Seagal did the entire performance from a beanbag chair, and at one point, I swear I saw him eating a hamburger. The Glimmer Man is Steven Seagal's attempt at a buddy cop action comedy, but it still has Seagal just playing himself, so it's not that much fun. But can you imagine Steven Seagal as Martin Riggs? It would be terrible. The Glimmer Man begins with an extended tracking shot as we move through the Los Angeles Police Department. And now, I love tracking shots in movies. And when they're done well, they can make for extremely interesting and often exciting scenes. And now even a basic tracking shot, like in this movie, is pretty complicated. You have all these moving parts and everyone has to have their movements and lines down perfectly. There is zero room for error. One mistake, and everyone has to start back to one. But now pay close attention to exactly when this tracking shot ends. I love it. And when I was watching this movie and I saw them doing a tracking shot, I said to myself, oh my god, I hope it stops as soon as Seagal shows up, because that would be so funny. And it did. I want a 5-part HBO docuseries just on the shooting of this scene. I want to know how many takes they had to go through, and I want to see exactly what the script says that Steven's character was supposed to be doing, because they finally just had to settle for him just standing up. I imagine he had lines, and this tracking shot was supposed to go for even longer. I imagine they were supposed to introduce each other, and then continue the shot back out the door and down the hall, and maybe even have them walking out the building as they're talking, and then they witness a car accident or a shooting or something, and it's all done in one take. That would have been cool. But it's Steven Seagal, so all we get is him standing up and clearly forgetting his line. Just dynamite. Oh, we are off to an amazing start. And as far as I can tell, they do not do any extended tracking shots for the rest of this movie. This is probably why. And Keenan Ivory Wayans plays Detective Jim Campbell, and he has a new partner, mystical weirdo Lieutenant Jack Cole, who, like I said, surprise, surprise, is a Zen Buddhist, just like Steven Seagal always pretends to be. And Cole is a legend from New York who solved the infamous DeMarco serial killings. And he's now been transferred to LA, and he'll be working with Campbell to apprehend the Family Man, who is a serial killer who has murdered 6 families in the last 8 months in ritualistic killings. And then they get a call for another killing in a motel. Seagal, what are you wearing? And all of the Family Man's victims are Catholic, and the killer poses them like Jesus when he was crucified. But Cole thinks that this killing is different from the others, and then they get a call for a hostage situation at a local school. Teenager Johnny Deverall has a gun and has taken some of his classmates hostage, including his girlfriend Millie, played by Nikki Cox. Oh man, remember Nikki Cox? And now in these kinds of situations, it's imperative that you try to establish a rapport with the gunman and do everything you can to keep them calm.
Drop the gun.
Or bust through the door and point a gun at them. With your finger on the trigger? Hasn't Seagal done a bunch of interviews where he brags about his firearm training? And Johnny tries to kill himself, but Cole tackles him through the window.
You're not a freelancer, okay? Oh no, this ain't New York. No shit.
Yeah, it's definitely not New York, because LA rarely has days that would be considered giant gold dragon jacket weather. Johnny's stepdad is Frank Deverall, who is a very powerful and influential man in LA, and he sends his enforcer Donald to threaten Cole to testify that Johnny was temporarily insane, but Cole refuses to do it.
I want you to deliver a message for me. You tell your asshole boss that nobody threatens me. Now get your ugly white ass out of here. Don't come back.
What did he say? Is he mic'd up? Even Donald couldn't hear him. He's clearly doing that thing when you don't hear what a person said, but you just smile. And sometimes you even add a Totally. The medical examiner is performing an autopsy on the female victim of the motel murders, and Cole thinks that she was Russian, and he noticed that she's had breast implants, and he cuts one of them out. And this poor extra, you know Seagal was just groping the shit out of her the whole time here. And so Cole and Campbell drive around and start to get to know one another.
So tell me, man, what's up with the beads?
Oh no, don't ask him about any of that shit. He'll never stop talking.
Is it? Yeah, it's called a mala, Tibetan prayer beads.
And I don't like the parts of Seagal movies where he clearly rewrote his own scenes. Like, he just copies and pastes the same shit that he says in every single movie. You are allowed to play someone other than yourself. I am begging you to play someone other than Steven Seagal. They get a call that an informant has information on the family man, but it's actually a setup by the Russian mob, and we discover that we are now balls deep in the heavily edited fight scenes portion of Seagal's career. Like in the early Seagal movies, it was wide shots, you could tell he was doing all of his own stunts, but now he just has this big old jackets, super fast cuts, and slow-mo, and obvious stunt doubles. Like, it's just sad. And that night, the family man strikes again and kills a therapist and his wife, and the police find Cole's print at the scene.
What's wrong?
There's been another killing.
I'm sorry, Steven. What? You have to actually open your mouth when you speak.
I'm sorry, Jack.
He killed Ellen and her husband.
I got nothing. We learned that the victims were Cole's ex-wife and her husband.
I gotta go tell my kids that their mother's dead.
Can we go back and put the captions on?
I gotta go tell my kids that their mother's dead.
Oh, that's helpful. So Cole is sitting in his house with his incense and his Buddha statue, and I feel like there's been a scene like this in every single Steven Seagal movie. And it shouldn't bother me, but it does. Like, the religion doesn't bother me. It's the fact that he has to have it in every movie. And like, the props department had to go out and find everything just so they could make this 20-second scene. Just so that we all know that Steven Seagal is a Buddhist. We know. We are aware. It adds nothing to the movie. It has nothing to your character. It has nothing to your last 9 characters. It's like if I was an actor and every movie I was in, my character would be obsessed with Alf. And no matter what the context, I would always have to be wearing an Alf shirt. Like, yes, Alf is awesome. It was the greatest show of all time. But it wouldn't work in every movie, and audiences would rightly be sick of it. We learn that Cole is former CIA, and he attempts to contact his former boss.
Hello, this is Darren. How may I direct your call?
Yeah, Westlake Security.
Hi, I'm sorry, what was that?
Yes, I'd like you to tell Mr. Smith that Mr. Jones needs to contact him.
I'm sorry. Can you speak directly into the phone? I can't hear a word you're saying.
Cole goes to Mr. Smith's restaurant, and he's played by none other than Brian freaking Cox. And oh my god, is he related to Nikki Cox? Let me look that up. No, it does not look like it. Man, that would have been amazing. But as I was looking it up, I was reminded that Nikki Cox was in an episode of Erie, Indiana. Does anyone remember that show? Erie, Indiana was great. Of course, the only one I can really remember is the 2 little twin boys that were actually like 70 years old, but their mom kept them in Tupperware every night to keep them young. And I remember even back then thinking, how do they breathe? Oh, what a great show. Okay, so Brian Cox, not related to Nikki Cox. But I gotta say, the amount of talent that Steven Seagal movies pull for their villains is remarkable. Cole believes that whomever killed his wife was a copycat, and he wants Smith's help in tracking down who it is. But Cole and Smith are both cagey professionals, so it's a very tense game of cat and mouse.
Can I get you a bite to eat? The food is truly wonderful, though the service does leave a little to be desired.
Cut the shit. I need some names of consultants.
I think.
Don't tell me there's a problem. You can't take care of yourself.
Look, it's about the serial killings, and I know you know all about it.
Yes, I do. Truly wicked.
They both are really trying to out-whisper each other.
I'm sure you realize what I'm capable of doing to you if I have to.
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed I do. What kind of consultant are you looking for?
I got nothing.
Seems to be inflicting custom wounds on the victims after they're dead and has excellent cleaning skills.
I don't know. Let's go back and try the captions again.
Seems to be inflicting custom wounds on the victims after they're dead and has excellent cleaning skills.
Nope. And then Cole proceeds to flip the shit out of everyone in the restaurant. And while I love the flipping, I do have a soft spot in my heart for when he just kicks dudes in the gut. It's very satisfying. Campbell gets a call from a professor who recognizes the drawings that are left at the crime scenes, and she realizes it's the work of her former student, Christopher Maynard. And the rest of the cops go to Maynard's house, but Cole is smarter than everybody, and he finds Maynard at a random church instead. And boom, not only do these movies have bona fide movie stars, but they're also able to get the greatest character actors ever. And we got the GOAT right here, Steven Tobolowsky. I always love a good Tobolowsky sighting in the wild. And Maynard tells Cole that he didn't kill the Russians in the motel or Cole's ex-wife.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. The time of my last confession was 6 months ago.
Christopher, please.
I am in hell. I am in hell.
Listen to me. Listen to me.
Do it now or I will kill you. You believe it?
And man, props to Tobolowsky. He is acting his ass off here, and Seagal is giving him nothing to work with. Tobolowsky may as well just be on a green screen set. And because Cole has never been in a situation that he could de-escalate, he guns down Maynard in the church. And they name Cole as the prime suspect in his wife's murder, and they take his gun and his badge. And Maynard had a rock-solid alibi for the last 2 murders. He was in a town called Punxsutawney going under several aliases, such as Ned Ryerson, Ned the Head, and Needle Nose Ned. And Cole goes to the house of the Russian victim to pleasure himself when he gets attacked by the second Family Man killer. Now, this could be a tense scene. Like, the Family Man is a terrifying serial killer, and Cole has just inadvertently walked in on him, but Seagal would never allow himself to be scared or even mildly vulnerable, and he just smacks the Family Man around like a cartoon character. And why the hell are there so many birds? Are we going for a John Woo style here? The intruder gets away, and we learn that it was Donald, and he was trying to destroy any evidence that links the Russians back to Deverall. We learn that Deverall was likely using the Russian mule to smuggle chemical weapons in and out of Russia. And at an intimate pool party, Smith is telling Deverall that Cole was a CIA operative known as the Glimmer Man.
He was known as the Glimmer Man. There'd be nothing but jungle. Then a glimmer. Then you'd be dead.
It was probably the sun reflecting off all the product in his hair. And this is the second Seagal movie that sees the bad guys conducting business while swimming in a pool.
I beg to differ. He's already spilled at the shrink. The pool boy knows too much.
I mean, they're just out of breath, treading water. It's just the least dignified place to hatch nefarious schemes. Second only, maybe, to being on a Ferris wheel. And Smith says that Deverall's son and Cole and Campbell need to be eliminated because they know too much. Internal Affairs shows up to arrest Cole. Cole notices the Russian mafia tattoo on the driver, and he manages to subdue them and blow them all up from the back seat. And then we get the hero casually walking away from the blast in slow motion. Oh, dear God. You know, as big as Seagal's ego is, I'm surprised he ever allows himself to be shown running.
You don't think Deverell would kill his own stepson, do you? Right. Dumb question.
It was a dumb question. Murder is illegal, so of course he wouldn't kill his son. He would go to prison, ya ding-dong. They then record Smith saying that Deverall is selling chemical weapons to terrorists, and they play the tape for Deverall, and Cole says that all he wants is Donald and the murder weapon, and Deverall agrees to give him up. And who else is kind of bitter that they didn't keep Tobolowsky as just the only killer that needed to be stopped? We don't need this convoluted chemical weapons subplot. This could have been Seagal's 7. So a gunfight breaks out, and Cole tracks Donald down to the lobby, and we get ready for the epic showdown of 2 professionals at the top of their oh my god. Okay, I don't think anyone's even landed a punch on Cole this whole movie. That doesn't make it interesting. Yes, we want to see the hero finally destroy the villain at the end, and we the audience know that that will happen, because that's how movies work, but Seagal movies are so boring because he's shown to be an unstoppable machine that can never be hurt. Hell, even Superman, Neo, and Ernest are shown to be vulnerable sometimes. Cole then chucks Donald out the window and he gets impaled on a fence. And so that was the Glimmer Man, which was clearly supposed to be Steven Seagal's superhero franchise, but it just never really took off. But the Glimmer Man is the perfect superhero because it's Steven Seagal, who is America's superhero. Did you know that he can kick Jean-Claude's ass? He said it many times. He wouldn't say it if it wasn't true. And also, I think the Glimmer Man was Steven Seagal's response to not being chosen to be Batman. Also, can you imagine this dude as Batman? You thought Christian Bale was hard to understand, and Keenan Ivory Wayans tried his best, but The Glimmer Man was never going to work as a superhero movie because we already have a Wayans who starred in the greatest superhero movie of all time.
I want to speak to the commissioner. Tell me why. Tell me why.
Duh, I'm a crime fighter.
You can't top Blank Man. And as always, I'd like to thank my friends for Patreon. And if you want to join them, every Tuesday we're breaking down one episode of the Adam West Batman show. And you're going to be getting some comedy like this. So Batman and Robin make their way to the exposition, and we learn just how sweet and easy life is for Batman.
Batman, Robin, this way, please.
Thank you, citizens.
There's no charge for you. Go right in.
No, I'd rather pay just like any other ordinary citizen.
Now I'm going to pretend like I'm handing you money. You just mind that you're putting in the register, but I'm actually just going to palm it and put it back in my bat pocket.